This video was sponsored by Ironside Computers. Use the code GameChampMakesLuigi fanfiction for 5% off. The fanfiction will surface eventually, don't worry. And/or worry depending on your perspective. Good morning everybody and welcome back to VG Myths, the online internet video game TV show that has officially run out of ideas. Jak II is the dark and edgy sequel to Jak and Daxter, trading in the precursor orbs for good old-fashioned lead. Unfortunately, I don't have a single precursor orb to my name, meaning we're gonna have to do without. Can you beat Jak II without guns? The rules are what you'd expect. The act of shooting a gun is banned. This obviously includes the 4 gun variants Jak has in his inventory, as well as the guns found on some vehicles or turrets found in the game world. Simply put, if it goes bang bang, we're not allowed to bang bang. With the rules set, let's get this run started. Since we don't even have guns to begin with, the first few missions are identical to a casual playthrough. But take one guess what happens the exact moment we get the scattergun.
We need to teach you how to use this baby. The scattergun is a good short-range weapon with a wide field of fire. To fire the weapon, press the trigger.
Mission failed! Now let's cheat. If you're already familiar at all with Jak II speedrunning, you'll already be aware that most required missions are required in quotation marks. Take a zoomer to this corner of the Baron statue. While holding down, run straight for the ramp, jump onto it, and jump once again at the edge of the ramp, and finally dismount the zoomer. You'll get enough height to fly past the wall and splat safely out of bounds. From here, you can jump back inbounds very conveniently inside a loading zone for Mars Tomb, which you shouldn't have access to until much later in the story. Since we're not supposed to be here yet, the cutscene in front of this stone door doesn't play and it refuses to open. But solid walls didn't exactly stop us getting here in the first place, and they're not about to start. With some careful jumping on the slippery ledges at the side of the room, you can fall through the pillars on the side of the door and hop around the door while out of bounds. Everything inside the tomb proper will be working as you'd expect in a casual playthrough. Plus, once we reach our first cutscene, you'll notice we've gotten a bit of an addition to our inventory. Naughty Dog apparently actually factored in ludicrous sequence breaks into the game's design. By triggering a cutscene in this mission, the game realized we obviously must have cleared every single mission required to unlock this one. So not only did we technically just finish the gun tutorial, we finished hours upon hours worth of missions in between. Plus, since we beat all those missions, we obviously should have all the mission rewards in our inventory. This includes the totally useless guns, passes to get through all city checkpoints, and most importantly, the jetboard, which we'll be getting plenty of use from later. Or at least we would if we were capable of finishing the tomb. The mission ends with a boss fight against the Baron, who starts the battle off by sending out a ton of electric spider bots. These spider bots are completely immune to melee attacks and must be killed before the battle will progress. Mission failed! Now let's cheat harder. The game is effectively soft-locked, so we'll have to reload a prior save from before entering the catacombs. There's a non-melee, non-gun attack capable of killing the spider bots. The Dark Bomb, purchasable from the precursor statue back in town for 25 metalhead gems. This is essentially a screen nuke, dealing tons of damage to every enemy in the area, enough to kill every spider bot. Unfortunately, this early in the game, metalhead gems are an extremely limited, finite resource. In casual play, so far you're only supposed to have been able to get a small handful from the Waterworks mission. Even with some mild shenanigans to reach metalhead gems on a later mission path, I only found 19 total gems. To get any more, we'll once again need to go somewhere we're not supposed to. First, head for this green checkpoint. We don't have the pass to get through here yet, so instead we'll be taking a long shortcut. There are a couple different methods to do this, but this is the one I found easiest. Take a large single-seat car and back it into the window as close as you can get. Jump out, ledge hang on the back, wait for the right angle, then do a backward drop through the window. Be careful how you jump from here, since if you get too close to the laser wall, you'll disintegrate. You should be okay if you loop over to the right. Now that we're on the other side, our next goal is to reach the mountains. It's actually not possible to go through the door to the mountains at this point in the story, which I'm sure you already realize is only a mild inconvenience. Head for this wall. This is going to be an extremely technical trick, so get out a notepad and pay very close attention. Step 1, walk into the wall. Now that you've successfully pulled off the hardest out-of-bounds trick in the game, the next part will be easy. Things might look normal for a second, but if you walk along the path, you'll notice reality has ceased to exist. Grab a zoomer and drive into the non-existence. If you try to drive on the lower lane, you'll fall to your death thanks to the lack of ground, but on the upper lane, you're totally safe. The death trigger is a decent distance below ground level though, and you can lane swap whenever you want. Since the ground no longer exists, we can drop below and then rise back up past the outer wall. Unfortunately, when reality stopped existing, the loading room to enter the mountains stopped existing with it. We'll need to get reality to start existing again. Head past the right side of the yellow checkpoint, drop below the ground, and continue along the path while constantly swapping lanes to keep yourself low enough to stay out of bounds but high enough not to hit the death trigger. Since we're very technically moving along the main path, the game will realize it should load the area we're moving toward, which includes the mountain's loading room. To actually reach the loading area, stop below it, drop down, rise back up, and dismount the zoomer. If timed right, the momentum will launch you up through the ground and into the loading area, letting you open the door and proceed into the mountains for a relaxing, glitch-free hunting trip. But as you might expect, that was a blatant lie. We have to take a portal up to the mountains, and the portal back won't turn on until we've completed our mission. And just our luck, this area is full of platforming segments with upside-down platforms that will only turn right side up when shot with a gun. Instead of trying to jump past the first platform, do a long jump directly into the cliff on the left. You will obviously clip straight through. Mash spin attacks and you should get enough distance to land on the lower ledge across the chasm. Continue along the path and you'll be able to kill some metalheads and grab the gems we need. When the giant metalhead shows up, don't bother actually fighting it and just do a high jump up to the next ledge. After progressing a bit, you'll come to another upside down platform. Ignore it and head for the tree root on the left. It's slippery, but with careful positioning you can land on it and jump again to the above rock. You can now walk into the glowing light and trigger a cutscene. This cutscene turns on the teleporter back to the city, which we can safely get back to by dying a painful death. Once back in town, you can buy Dark Bomb, then do the statue skip and get back to the boss fight against the Baron. Finally, after 10 dozen detours, you can perform Dark Bomb to destroy every single spider bot. The Baron will spit out a bunch of bombs next. Make sure you whack 4 at him in one go to proceed to Phase 2. The Baron begins Phase 2 with a wave of spider bots. Mission failed! Though we might not be able to use Dark Bomb again, that's actually okay. In Phase 2, the Baron also tries to kill us himself with a machine gun. Hang off the ledge, sit back, and drink a latte as the Baron very slowly guns down his own spider bots. Side note, I never noticed before since I was so focused on murdering them, but the spider bots are honestly kind of adorable and I feel bad now. With the spider bots gone, you can once again whack some bombs back at the Baron, moving on to Phase 3, which features no spider bots and requires no guns by design. With the Baron's retreat, the door back out of the tomb will open, letting us return to the city proper, somehow having already completed 2/3 of the game. From now on, we'll be doing each mission in the order the game intends. The speedruns I've seen prefer to use some ludicrously fancy tricks to avoid all combat, but I personally found that way harder than just getting our hands dirty the old-fashioned way. Whenever Jak rolls, the guards seem to deliberately start missing him for a couple seconds. Keep chaining rolls together while moving from enemy to enemy and take them out one by one. This should get you through this mission as well as most Crimson Guard sections in the future. Unfortunately, it won't help us in escort quests like this one in the sewers. To keep Jinx and friends from getting eviscerated, you'll want to have every enemy spawn point memorized and head there ASAP. The jetboard in particular will help tremendously with this. In the final ambush, stick slightly in front of the group and scrape back and forth constantly with punches and spins, keeping an eye back at the 3 of them at all times. You can use Dark Jak as a backup if you're getting overwhelmed, but I personally ended up not needing it. Next is the mission against the spider bomb bots throughout the city. We're under a soft time limit as they try to reach their destination, so killing them as fast as possible is crucial. Luckily, there's a semi-reliable way to speed things up. Get under the bomb bot and start mashing the jump and spin buttons. If done right, you'll be canceling your spins immediately and then spinning again, causing rapid fire damage. In Dead Town, we have to do a lengthy trek in a mech suit. While this is definitely doable gunless since the mech suit is definitely not a gun, there's no reason to bother trying. Remember that ridiculous speedrun trick I mentioned earlier? It's time to bring it out. Using the jetboard, you can travel across the water and reach this ledge, just next to the mission's endpoint, Samos' hut. I'll spare you the full details, but by doing fancy flippy tricks in a very particular way and then mashing the flippy trick button, Jak will constantly start and stop doing a flippy trick, granting infinite height gain while continuing to move with your current momentum. Using this trick, you can easily reach Samos' hut and finish the mission, no effort required. In the next mission, we'll be protecting baby Samos from an army of Crimson Guards. This requires literally any effort, so once again, we'll be cheating. After riding the floating platform down to the forest, turn around toward the bottomless pit, jetboard into it while aiming for the rocks on the left, and get off the jetboard just as you touch the rocks. You'll splat at the bottom of the bottomless pit completely okay, and can now exit the pit by doing a flippy trick. This may seem completely pointless, but once you start getting shot in the face, you'll hopefully notice that you're now completely immune to bullets. I'm just gonna come right out and say I have absolutely no idea why this works, and I'm just blindly copying everything I see on the internet. Apparently, sick flippy tricks are just the key to immortality. Once all the ground troops are dead, walk down to the bottom of the cliff to lure the flying guys and blow them up too. Unfortunately, invulnerability ends when you game over or when you bonk, and I lost it immediately after finishing this mission. But it won't actually be that important for a while, and we'll have more opportunities to get it back. In the next mission, we need to rescue 6 lurkers being aimlessly driven around in circles around the city. Normal melee attacks aren't the best option for such a high target. Instead, get on the jetboard and do a non-glitchy flippy trick from below. These flippy tricks actually deal decent damage and will destroy each vehicle in just a few hits. There are a couple vehicles over waterways that are still difficult to hit on most of their route. For those, I grabbed a car and rammed into them to deal most of my damage before hopping out and finishing them off. The next few missions will be uneventful, especially since with a couple you can skip directly to the end with some relatively simple flippy tricks. In the next mission, we head into the toxic waste factory. You can easily flippy trick inside and then die a painful death to skip to this checkpoint right next to a vat of toxic waste. Remember the invulnerability glitch? The same glitch can be pulled off much more easily on insta-death surfaces, the toxic waste being just such a surface. Get yourself invulnerable, run up the nearby conveyor belt, then splat on the ground below. The invulnerability glitch, when first triggered, prevents the player from triggering cutscenes or enemies from noticing Jak. We are, however, still capable of taking fall damage, which retains invulnerability while removing these limitations. The way forward is blocked by a platform normally shot with a gun, but you can also knock it down by flipping into it with the jetboard, and since we don't die in the toxic waste, this method is completely safe. Invulnerability will last you through the entire rest of the level, including the boss fight against Crew. After a few dev-intended gunless missions, we enter one of the hardest moments in the entire gunless run, the Centipede chase with Sig. There are 2 separate chasing segments with no checkpoints in between. Everything before the second segment is easy, but in the second we're faced with 2 sets of upside-down floating platforms that must be shot with a gun to turn right side up. The infinite jetboard flippy trick absolutely could get us past both gaps, but timing is so strict we need to do it first try twice in a row, which I'm nowhere near enough good at video games for. You could also do some sort of super duper fancy walk off a ledge super duper uppercut super duper trick, but this is also not an option for the aforementioned reason. There's still another way through though. Notice Sig shoots the platforms with his own gun as he runs ahead of us. With some very careful jetboard hops, you can boost forward for the first platform and piggyback off Sig to reach the other side. Afterward, you'll have to do some extreme off-screen platforming to keep up with Sig. If the screen doesn't black out, you apparently survived. Piggyback once again off the second set with negative time left to spare, and you can finish the level. After that hardest mission in the game, we head into the double hardest mission in the game, the Samos and Baby Samos escort quest. To keep the Samoses alive, I recommend sticking just behind them and keep an eye on your minimap so you know where metalheads are coming from. To make the mission astronomically easier, head in with full Dark Jak. When you start to get overwhelmed, activate Dark Jak, spin in circles around your favorite Samos, and activate Dark Bomb as late as possible. There won't be as many metalheads at the tail end of the journey, so if neither Samos has taken much damage, you should be home free. The next mission at the construction site is a simple cutscene that will trigger the endgame. Before entering, make a backup save. The shuttle at the port currently leads to the volcano, but once the endgame is triggered, it will lead to the metalhead nest. You can still reach the volcano from the waterworks, but the shuttle is much more convenient. With the backup save made, head to the volcano first and dip your toes in the lava for free zombification. Now that you're invulnerable and splatted on the ground, it's safe to head to the construction site and metalhead nest. I'm sure it's gonna be a shock to most of you, but this level is actually pretty difficult to lose when it's impossible to lose. Do be careful to skip the cutscene near the beginning though, otherwise Jak will fire a really big gun. At the end of the path, we start the final boss battle against Core. For phases 1 and 2, there's nothing stopping you from farming Dark Eco from the infinitely respawning metalheads, allowing you to enter Dark Jak and spam Dark Bomb. In phase 3, Core moves to ground level completely defenseless. Spin into him a couple hundred times, and once his health bar reaches 0, the Jak II gunless run is mission complete. Before heading out, credit absolutely must be given to the entire Jak speedrunning community whose strats I shamelessly stole. Particular thanks go to Ra, who helped answer some important questions off screen. I should also stress that I am bad at video games, definitely not a speedrunner, and honestly expect I got some things blatantly wrong at some point in the video since so much of it was adapted from speedrun tech. Please, if I'm dumb and bad, let me know in the comments so I can correct my sins. Also, this video was made by request for Jak Month, a community event where Jak fans have been celebrating the series' 20th anniversary from November 1st to December 3rd, which may or may not have already passed because I'm as good at time management as I am at video games. All the content made for Jak Month can be found at twitter.com/JakMonth. By the way, in case you missed my cash consumption venture, there's now a $10 tier on the Patreon, at which you get access to a selection of commentaries on prior videos. Since last time, we've added commentaries for the VG Myths episodes on Splatoon 1 and Kirby's Adventure, as well as the Knack Dumb Fun Gaming episode. These will continue to be released at a rate of 1 per week until we get a decent backlog. Speaking of money, special thanks to all Patreon backers including Drew Kolpers, Anon42, RB Drox, All in Zero, Leslam, Chris Dane, Alexander Botkin, Anu Akrira, Vincent Hall, Alex Nelson, Lively Leader, Jay Snilges, Vaith, Rory Kelly, Lane Robert Leishman, Liddy Kitty, Jace Harsh, Crustacean Creep, Queen Sapphire, Plum Sweater, Procrastinating Destiny, Epic Evan 921, Alex Likes to Eat, Yield 4, and Rundum Goy, Misfunctional, Cam the Can 1, Nathaniel Kalita. I was one of the people in the Rock Paper Scissors game and am still a backer. I stopped doing the game because fate declared a tie. Zoe Multicore, Aaron Bailey, The Green Scorpion, Game Champ says trans rights are human rights, Xander Kozak, Celestial Cookie, Boomboxy, Veravias, Curbs D50, Jorb, Damien R, Yap Alonzo, World's Slowest Conversation, that's Miss White to you, and to be honest, I don't know how my day is going because I don't know when. Star Captain Eli Shaba of Clan Ghost Bear, Salty Sweet, Chronos Anthem, Dwaro25, Blue Moon Von Idaho, Britface, The Nonchalant Nacho, Kid Very Gucci, Wispy Syrup, Riley Anderson, Arcombs, Neptunian Baby, Nikki Wiki 34, Slowest Game of Chess, Black, I'll do CXD4, and if you also do CXD4, I'll conditionally NC6. Officer Slard, what's that noise? Have you ever considered not being bad at video games, Miss Champ? Nova, Sinique says hashtag landback, Sulfuric Boss, Fabi, Zith Uggles, and Dragon, Eric Barron, Zero, Mars Becker, XCY, Fyra, Shadowfire 638, Silktoid, IB Mackey, Drawn by AJ2, The Return of the Haha Funny Meme Name, Amphizen, Admiral Ampersand, Literal Cat, Sylvie Wing Catgirl is gay and doesn't go to bed on time, Reblog if you too are gay and or don't go to bed on time, Eve Weaver Cable, Zebras, Game of Champion, don't just make a new VG myth of Jaku Dakusuta Su off stream without telling anyone, or I can't bully you, Backa. I think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody and their stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Flip Chicken, Sound of Rain, Ryan Garpy, Milk Succubus, Grand Nero, Where is that Rockman 4 Damageless Run, Fireblade 974, Literally Judas, Now I Only Want to Triumph, Nora Hana. Beam Animates, the Jelly Bean Warlock, the Insane One. Yadaranus is the biggest dinosaur that we definitely know had feathers and is also in the same family of dinosaurs as T-Rex. 11, Sorio 99, Jack Silverson, Dakota Riggs, Neo Sandman 4040, Infamous Peace, Miles Edgelord, Trish Chandler, Airtide, Mackie B, Drees, Lily, oh no, I lost my underscore sap, Colin Monsma, Darknet, Attempted Wholesomeness, Champ doesn't like to say Funsy Runsy, IDAC, Carlo Calcitera, Brisky, Margaret Josephine, Madrox 07, Corporal High, friendly reminder that it's not normal to sneeze, I have never sneezed, F Amadon, Release Idola LP4, T Brunelli 200, Quiet Mischievous, Game Champ 3000 is kinda sussy, Leverage, Lemon Planter, High Princess Heroness, Nitsa Gamer got to a ringless run of Sonic Adventure 2 before Game Champ did, Fluff System, Fadooge, rekindled in the heat death of the universe while waiting on Game Champ to beat Rockman 4 Damageless Useless. Grotchus, Frilly Lily. Durgil, Alex S. Warrior. Game Champ, I am sorry for making you almost swear in your previous video. May you please delete it so I can atone for my sins pull, supporting Game Champ until Ratatouille 2 is released. Cutie Monica, Nemea Corporate Enchantress. Maddie Serenketo. TechGek. Whether we wanted it or not, we stepped into a war with the Cabal on Mars, so let's get to taking out their command one by one. No one. Oh no, I seem to have dropped my $5 bill. Has anyone seen where it went? My cat requires it for my rent. That hippie gamer, BJ Mashed Potato, is making Game Champ read more and is very sorry. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me. Cody Merchant, Dantastic, Biggest Dickus. We're not sure how, but Game Champ 3000 used video game challenge runs to get meaningful gun control legislation passed. Genduro, STL of the Wind, Non-Euclidean Duct Tape, Purple Pyros. Atu Zapar, Avery Akamatsu. Austin Zell, Pyre the Flareon, Weishi Linden. Jadobo Zema, Bunna Wild, Diamond. Basic M, Not Tommy. I Pompous. Ken of Red Lions. Hashtag Girl Moments. Professor Badger, It's Coolin. AI, The Somnium Files is a action puzzle visual novel made by Spike Chunsoft and is better than Danganronpa. Game Champion 3000, I think you should play 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. It is a good game. It is okay if you. Epic, the non-binary, eldritch, functional QA tester, Igni Elegy. My profile picture is Garfield that looks like PogChamp, also known as Pogfield. Jen the pink-haired cat on twitter.com says meow. Meadow a gamer. I am me. Robjection would like to inform you that this video contains themes which some viewers may find Robjectionable. Twinbee, 11 Atrium, the non-binary goat of salt. Captain Kaiser, T-Jam. Doodlesack 12, Biohazard. Mr. Orange Fan, Howl's one-handed egg cracking technique. I pledged $5 to Game Champ 3000's Patreon per video, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. So tell me, Game Champ, does making my name really long make me stand out? It would be cool if people could hear the name Ham Man. Moomin Biscuit, Thea of Truth, The Beard Phantom, Brandon Pulask, and everybody's favorite trans dragon girl, Aurelia. Let me know how much this video sucks and how to improve in the comments below. Expect Jak III on the 30th anniversary and get out of my house.